Hey there. I'm sure this has happened to you at some point. I know it's happened to me. I've been in a situation where I'm shooting portraits, but I have had to raise my ISO higher than I would normally do it. So, like with this photo here, which was taken basically in a really dark area of a building. It was sort of in a cellar, and to get a decent photo I had to raise the ISO to 6,400. I even had some that were a bit higher than that, but I thought this was a good mid-range. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the noise or remove the noise using a few different programs. So I'm going to compare Lightroom, and I'm going to compare it with Luminar Neo, DxO PureRAW. I'm also going to take it into Topaz DeNoise AI, and we're going to compare them and see how they go. So let's jump in and have a look. First up, I'm going to go into DxO PureRAW 5. So this is the latest one. I've just updated it, and I've loaded this image in. It's had no editing to it whatsoever. Going to go to 100%, and as you can see, it's got quite a bit of grain and noise. It's got that color noise, everything. So what I'm going to do is go back to full screen, and I am going to process with preview. So I want to preview it first. So I'm going to go back into 100%. Now, this has processed it with Deep Prime 3, which is the ultimate quality. And yes, it has reduced the noise, granted, but it's made it kind of crunchy, and I could increase the luminance. I could force the details a little bit, and then it starts to look a little bit plastic. I could lessen the intensity, but it's still a little crunchy. So if I go over to Deep Prime XD2S, so this is the ultimate quality with extra details, and quite frankly, I'm still having the same problem. It is still quite crunchy. If I zoom out, it actually looks pretty good, but it's when I zoom in that it is a little on the crunchy side. So I'm just going to hit process now so that I have a copy of that. Now I've actually gone into Camera Raw here, and I'm just going to apply the denoise in Camera Raw, but this is to the image that I denoised in Deep Prime. So not a big fan, not a big fan at all. So I'm just going to undo that, and I'm going to open it in Photoshop, because what I want to actually do is save a copy of that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to edit this in Luminar Neo. I'm just going to edit a copy. Now I'm going to go over to my edit, and I'm going to go to noiseless. It has recommended that I use high, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to let it do its thing. It actually hasn't done a bad job. Still a little noisy, but it's not too bad overall. I'm going to apply that and take it back into Lightroom. So I'm going to save that one. So that's Luminar Neo. Okay, then let's go back to my original. Now, I don't have to have it, I've got it in black and white, and I probably should have taken it out of black and white to see how Luminar. Now, there's a bit of a funny little lump there. Let's go back into Luminar, but let's do it in colour, because there's actually quite a bit of colour noise here, whereas the image I sent over was actually just black and white. I think it actually did a better job in black and white. But let's apply that, and then we'll save that as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to Nik 8 Define. And that's actually done not too bad of a job. So I'm going to apply that one. And I'm just hitting the auto features. I'm not even going and playing with things in there. So I'm going to so it's Nik Define. Go back to my original. I'm going to go into Photoshop because I want to use another program that I currently don't have as a plugin, but that's okay. So if I come down to Topaz, I'm going to go to DeNoise. Again, a little bit crunchy. Let's try low light. Let's remove some of it, but not all of it. Let's go into raw. I think low light actually did a better job. It didn't remove all the grain, but at the same time, it's not quite so crunchy. Okay, so that's Topaz. So if I save that, that's going to go back into Lightroom, and then I can export that. DeNoise AI. And then we can go back to our original image that we had in Lightroom. Let's just try the denoise from within Lightroom. And that's actually done a pretty decent job. If I can convert this to black and white again. So there you have it. I could do some retouching and various other bits and pieces, but I'm just going to keep it there at this point in time. I'm just going to denoise Lightroom and save that so that we have all of them that I will load up so that you can have a look at as a comparison. So this is DxO Deep Prime X2, and it doesn't look too bad until you zoom in. Still, it's not too bad. Let's have a look at the next one. Okay, so this was Luminar Neo, which I actually did in black and white, and I think it's actually probably one of the better ones. And here, of course, is the colour version that I did as well. So this is Topaz DeNoise. Again, I wasn't overly impressed with the results out of this one. It was a little bit crunchy when I got rid of all the noise. If I kept some of the noise, it sort of looked much better. Another DxO product, this was the Nik Collection Define, which I think actually did a better job. It did keep some of the grain, but it did soften it off and make it far less noticeable. And last but not least, this is using the denoise function in Lightroom Classic, which for all intents and purposes actually did a pretty damn good job. I think that Lightroom has come a long way. So what do you think of all the final images, and what do you use to remove noise from your images? Let me know in the comments. So there you have it. I've compared Lightroom and DxO PureRAW, DxO Nik Define. I've used Luminar Neo. I have used Lightroom Classic DeNoise. I've used Topaz DeNoise AI. I even had a little play in Camera Raw, but to be honest, it's the same as Lightroom Classic as far as I can tell. So if you use Lightroom Classic or Camera Raw, either is pretty good. And I honestly think that Lightroom Classic did a really good job, or Luminar Neo DeNoise was probably my second favourite, followed by Nik Define. Now, you can pay big money for Pure Raw and Topaz AI and things like that, but I'm not sure if they are worth the money in every instance. I think Pure Raw is better on architecture and landscapes and things like that, not necessarily on the face. And I think Topaz DeNoise can be a little bit that way as well. Sometimes it works really well and other times it doesn't. It can leave the skin really sort of crunchy and crisp and not very flattering at all. So for my money, I actually thought I preferred the Lightroom Classic DeNoise or Luminar Neo DeNoise. But I'd love to know in the comments which one you think was better, and or even your thoughts on what you use to denoise your images. So thanks for watching. As per usual, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next time on YouTube. Bye.